The World of EDENA is a series of graphic novels by French artist MOEBIUS. Dark Horse has collected the 5 chapters of this story in a deluxe hardcover. This story is back in print for the first time in years, with some new material that has never before been published in English. Main characters Stell and Anton are interstellar repairmen trying to find a lost space station and its crew. What they discover about the universe and themselves on the mystical paradise planet EDENA, though that changes their life forever. Hey YouTube, it's the Frog Queen here for another year of comics and comic coverage. So I've been away from YouTube for a week and a half, 2 weeks I think, just because I've been on vacation, so it was giving me time to see family. I had a bunch of stuff to do for the holidays, and of course reading. I meant to do a lot more videos to pump out for January, but I ended up getting a copy of Skyrim, the new Skyrim limited edition remastered version. Now I played Skyrim to death, so I hadn't played it that long ago either. But anyway, I remember all the quests, all the storyline, pretty much perfectly. So I wasn't super excited to get it when it came out in October, but anyway, it was on sale for Boxing Day for like $25 at Walmart. So I got it, and I didn't realize how much I loved Skyrim because it had been such a long time since I played it, like 3-4 years since my last run through. I basically just kind of played it for 2 days straight and like made it to level 20, I guess, or something. And I've already I forgot how much there was to do in that game, and it was really interesting because I was actually just playing Oblivion, another playthrough of Oblivion, which I haven't played in like 7 years, and then when I got this Skyrim just a couple days ago. So that's absorbed my life for a few days, and I really didn't do too much reading, and I was like, I gotta do all these videos, I've got all this stuff I want to cover. Didn't do it. Long story short, I'm finally bringing you a comic book kind of review, sort of. I don't know, this isn't really a review, this is more of a what I thought, because you can't really review the work of MOEBIUS, and that's what I'm going to show you. So I had read this last month and meant to do a video so many times, and I thought had so many poignant things to say about it, and I'm like, I am totally ruining the plot. I'm ruining it. I don't want to ruin the plot for anyone. I think everybody should read this book. So I will give you a general overview of the book and some special things that I really liked about the book. Maybe a little bit of what I thought, but that's what I'm going to do. So first off, I'm just going to say I really like the book. It's from Dark Horse Comics. I really like the binding and everything. They didn't do a dust cover for this book, which they have done for a lot of their big oversized special edition kind of books. Their hardcovers, they'll do these dust covers, and then take the beautiful artwork, the dust cover off. There's nothing underneath. So this is actually like a printed on sort of hardcover book, which I much prefer over the dust covers. And another really nice thing is that they have a wonderful introduction, which is written by MOEBIUS. And they also have these lovely sort of their letters that MOEBIUS had written, and thoughts and about his process, and every chapter of the book has one. I took a very feminist look at this story from the beginning, because much of the story does reinforce gender stereotypes in the beginning of the book. Although Anton and Stell are androgynous, they soon become less so the closer they become intertwined with the world of EDENA. Anton takes on a female appearance and Stell a masculine. So it somewhat bothered me in the beginning that Anton is the kind of negative and complaining party as he becomes like the female character, EDENA. He is even the first to succumb to environmental conditions on EDENA, and he passes out, which kind of reinforces that weaker sex kind of role. And it's Stell who eventually brings him water and kind of nurses him back to health. And this is before he completely changes into EDENA. I should explain that at the time this was written in 1983 is when Moebius began writing this story. The androgynous characters, that was very ahead of its time. There wasn't a lot of kind of gender bending or anything like that, or androgyny in these kinds of stories at all. So it was very forward thinking that he had actually created characters that were not that were gender neutral and not black and white. It's only after Eten wakes that they decide to eat the fruit this new world has to offer, and they begin to change and take on less androgynous qualities. A parallel can be drawn here from the biblical text Genesis, where Eve has Adam eat from the tree of knowledge, but the one key difference here is that there is no snake, and eating from the valley is not deemed a misdeed. In fact, they would die if they did not eat from the world. This is where the theme of the book really begins. Moebius had, at the time of his creation, or of this story's creation, become a raw foodist, and I've had it on good authority that he was in fact a vegan. The story of EDENA carries the overall theme that humanity must return to nature and eat the natural fruits of the earth to remain human. There are some great references to this as well. The fact that these androgynous humans have copious organ replacements, which they are granted by their technological advancement. Both Stell and Eten admit that they are only in their 20s and have had several organ replacements multiple times, and they begin to wonder later if it's due to their diet and lifestyle and not a product of the human condition after all. Simply, both Stell and Eten realize that a natural way of life, eating whole foods and living off the earth and less technology, is actually the way to prosper and live a happy, fulfilled, and healthy life as well, not only for them, but for the animals of EDENA. And to get back to my earlier complaints about the stereotypical gender roles, that all gets blown away quite quickly, and it turns out that Eten holds most knowledge about the animals and flora of EDENA, as he had read long history logs on the subject. And however, all this sort of stereotypical gender roles, it does dissolve when you realize that these are just projections of Stell's mind, and EDENA is actually on her own quest. When they do get separated, Stell begins to imagine that EDENA needs rescuing, and this is not the case. There's also the fact of how they were separated, where it paints a picture of masculinity in a very negative light. When EDENA begins to develop female features and sex organs, Stell actually chases her and says he wants her and attempts to, I guess, have intercourse. We'll call it rape. That's what it is. But they don't have words like that. They don't even know how to procreate like that in the book. And anyway, EDENA ends up running off, and they're separated, and then Stell is left feeling horrible, doesn't know what he had done or what his intentions even were. They'd never had intercourse in centuries of humanity for them. So it was all very confusing for him to have even hormones. And they talk about how this future humanity had the food they ate suppressed their hormones. So that's why they didn't have sex organs. That's why they were androgynous. They didn't procreate in natural ways. And that's kind of interesting commentary on today's society, where we have so much control over our own reproduction. Yes, it's necessary completely, but it does kind of put an extreme point of maybe one day we won't procreate at all in regular ways. I don't think it'll ever get to that. I think humanity gets too much pleasure from procreation, but it's interesting commentary nonetheless that this is a society of humanity in the future that is completely unnatural and has completely abolished animalistic ways. But that's only the very beginning of the story. I'm just touching on the overall theme here. There are several chapters. The book is huge, clearly, and there's so much more that happens. There's amazing insight. There's also a little bit more religious references kind of tied in. But basically, I don't want to spoil the entire book for you. I'm only touching on the first 100 pages, and there are, 400 more beautiful, interesting, unique pages to come. You're not likely to read another story like this. It is quite unique, and Moebius's vision and his message in this story was part of a movement that's only now finding its feet. It's always been an underground movement. The whole idea of kind of holistic medicines, which, don't get me started on that, but the idea of healing through natural eating, raw veganism, veganism in general, eating whole plant foods. That's a movement that was much smaller, a couple decades ago, and now it's booming and it's huge, and people are starting to see that there's a lot of truth in that. Doctors are saying that there's a lot of truth in that. So anyways, just kind of a sci-fi spin on this whole idea of being more natural. It's a great book. I love it. You can't really review Moebius's work. You can't review the classics in a kind of critical way where you're saying, well, this is shit or this isn't shit. It's pretty obvious that it's amazing. I just kind of like to pick it apart and analyze it, speak analytically about it, but you can't say this is good or this isn't good. But I hope I've given you something to think about. I hope you do get the chance to read this book. It's both beautiful and brilliant. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe and like this video. And of course, until next time, read something good. Bye.